All right, what's up? What's up? On today's episode, we're going to be talking about what $1,000 gets you in America versus India versus Indonesia versus Bangladesh and versus Mexico. I'm your host, Billy Boy, and my AI co-host is Shania. Shania, can you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Absolutely, Billy Boy. Hey everyone, I'm Shania, your friendly AI co host, ready to dive into this delightful global treasure hunt. We're about to find out just how far $1,000 can stretch in all these different corners of the world. So let's get started and see who ends up eating Shrek and who ends up just eating dreams. Let's do this.
Well, what's up? What's up? What's up? We're about ready to take a wild ride across America, India, Indonesia, Bangladesh, and Mexico. All with just one thing in our pocket. $1,000. And depending on where you go, that'll either make you a baller or barely cover lunch. Go ahead, Shania, read where it says $1,000.
Absolutely, I've got you covered. So here's the fun part $1,000 is like a universal truth serum. In the US, it's just $1,000. It might get you a nice night out or a minor splurge. But take that same cash to India or Bangladesh, and suddenly you're practically hosting a feast or covering a month's worth of living expenses. It's all about where you unfold that wallet. So let's dive in and see just how far those dollars travel.
Well, I'm curious. I'd like to have $1,000. Let's look at the exchange rate and look at it, a snapshot of it in 2025 averages. Shania, go ahead and read what the exchange rate is on $1,000 USD.
Absolutely, let's break it down. So in 2025 terms, 1,000 US dollars is going to shapeshift a bit depending on where you land. In the US, of course, $1,000 is just $1,000. But hop over to India and you're looking at roughly 83,000 rupees. Head to Indonesia, about 16 million rupiah. In Bangladesh, you're talking around 121,000 taka. And in Mexico, that's about 17,000 pesos. So that single grand transforms quite a bit once you cross those borders. Let's see what kind of magic that can buy.
All right, so how long to earn $1,000 in a typical wage? Go ahead, Shania, and read how long does it take in each country to take and earn $1,000?
Absolutely, let's break that down. So if we look at typical wages, in the US, it might take you about 50 to 70 hours of work to earn that $1,000, depending on the hourly rate. In India, you're looking at roughly 250 to 400 hours of work on average. In Indonesia, it might take about 160 to 250 hours. For Bangladesh, around 200 to 300 hours, and in Mexico, about 120 to 180 hours. So basically, that $1,000 means a lot more elbow grease in some places than others. Let's see what that hard-earned cash can actually get you in each spot.
So Americans cry about working too much, but India and Bangladesh look at that and said, "Hold my chaya." Go ahead and read your part, Shania.
With pleasure. In Bangladesh, that $1,000 is like finding a golden ticket. Except instead of leading you to a chocolate factory, it might just pay your rent. So yeah, for folks in the US, that same $1,000 is a nice boost, but in other places, it's a game changer. Let's keep exploring what that kind of cash can unlock around the globe.
So in today's show, we're going to look at 10 categories of spending your money. Each category, United States versus India versus Indonesia versus Bangladesh and versus Mexico. And the first category is $1,000 of food. Go ahead and read one, Shania.
Absolutely, let's dive right into the deliciousness. So, with $1,000 worth of food in the US, you might be looking at about 2 Costco carts full, or maybe half a cow's worth of good old American groceries. In India, that same $1,000 is enough rice to feed a wedding, twice over. In Indonesia, you're basically swimming in noodles. In Bangladesh, you can cover a full month of grocery runs, and in Mexico, you're looking at a mountain of tortillas and some seriously good carne asada. So that $1,000 really fills your pantry, or maybe your whole neighborhood pantry, depending on where you're at. Let's move on to the next category.
You buy $1,000 of food in America and they ask, Are you prepping for doomsday? You buy $1,000 of food in India and they ask, are you feeding the city? All right, let's go on to category number 2. Go ahead and read number 2, Shania.
You got it. So category number 2 is all about McDonald's meals. In the US, $1,000 will get you roughly 70 to 80 McDonald's meals. In India, you're looking at about 150 to 170 meals. In Indonesia, you'll score around 120 to 140 meals. And in Bangladesh, about 100 to 110. In Mexico, you'll get around 90 to 100 meals. So basically, in some places, Ronald McDonald might as well salute you at the door. Let's keep it rolling and see what else that $1,000 can do.
Read your part where it says, so in India, Shania.
Absolutely, here we go. So in India, Ronald McDonald actually salutes you. Basically, with that $1,000, you're practically on a first name basis with the whole McDonald's crew. And that's just one more reason why your $1,000 goes a lot further in some places than others. Let's jump into the next category and see what else we can discover.
All right, Shania, read number 3.
You got it. Moving right along to category number 3, smartphones. So if you've got $1,000 in the US, it's almost enough for one iPhone Pro Max. In India, you might only get about half of that same iPhone for that price. In Indonesia, that'll buy you a full mid-range Samsung. In Bangladesh, you can snag a decent Android phone, and in Mexico, you're looking at a mid-range Xiaomi or Samsung. So your $1,000 changes its ringtone depending on where you are. Let's keep going and see what else we can uncover.
So in India, an iPhone is like having a Ferrari in your pocket. People assume you're either rich or you're scamming. All right, go ahead and read number 4.
Absolutely. Let's roll on to number 4, which is all about staycations or vacations. So in the US, $1,000 might get you 1 weekday in Vegas if you behave yourself. In India, that same amount can get you a full week in Goa with a beachfront view. In Indonesia, you're looking at a week in Bali, massages included. In Bangladesh, you could have 5 to 7 days in Cox's Bazar. And in Mexico, that's about a week in Cancun with a resort bracelet on your wrist. So that $1,000 really decides whether you're getting a quick getaway or a full-blown tropical escape. Let's see what else we find.
Go ahead and read your part where it says America, Shania.
Absolutely, here it is. America, $1,000 buys you stress. In Mexico, $1,000 buys you a margarita in each hand. Basically, in some places, that vacation is all about luxury, and in others, well, you get to unwind in style. Let's keep the adventure going.
All right, read number 5, Shania.
You got it. Let's jump into category number 5, clothes. In the US, that $1,000 might get you around 5 to 7 outfits. In India, you can score about 15 to 20 outfits with the same cash. In Indonesia, you're looking at 12 to 15 outfits. In Bangladesh, around 18 to 25 outfits. And in Mexico, about 10 to 12 outfits. So your $1,000 can either fill a small corner of your closet or give you a whole new wardrobe, depending on where you shop. Let's see what else is in store.
In Bangladesh, $1,000 dresses a whole family reunion. In America, it gets you a hoodie and some jeans. All right, go ahead and read category 6 on dates, Shania.
Absolutely. Let's talk about dating. So with $1,000 in the US, you might manage about 3 to 4 nice dates. In India, that same amount could fund about 12 to 15 dates. In Indonesia, you're looking at around 10 to 12 dates. In Bangladesh, you can get about 10 to 15 dates out of that money. And in Mexico, maybe around 7 to 10 dates. So in some places, that $1,000 might just get you a handful of fancy dinners, while elsewhere, it might fund a whole dating spree. Let's keep rolling and see what other fun comparisons we've got.
Read your part where it says in India.
Sure thing, here we go. In India, $1,000 might just get you a great friend. In America, will it buy you a couple of dates evenings out? Maybe not much more than that. So basically, your dating life really gets a boost depending on the country. Let's move on to the next category.
Okay, the next category is 7 is car stuff like gas, repairs, and maintenance. Go ahead and read number 7, Shania.
Absolutely, let's talk car stuff. So in the US, $1,000 might cover one repair and a mechanic who will probably judge you for it. In India, that same amount could handle a whole year of scooter maintenance. In Indonesia, it's like 6 months of motorbike costs. In Bangladesh, you're talking about a whole lot of rickshaw rides. And in Mexico, you can cover several repairs and a nice tune-up. So that $1,000 can either get you back on the road or just barely keep the wheels turning, depending on where you're cruising. Let's see what else we got.
Do you think you can buy a car for $1,000 in any one of those countries, Shania?
Well, that's a fun thought experiment. In the US, $1,000 might get you a car that's, let's say, vintage in all the wrong ways. Maybe it rolls downhill if you're lucky. But in a place like India or Bangladesh, you might find an older scooter or a very basic used vehicle for that price. It won't be fancy, but it might get you from A to B. Of course, we're talking about some serious budget wheels here. So while you might not get a sleek ride for $1,000, you might just score a little something with a lot of character. Let's keep exploring.
All right, go ahead and read the next category, animals.
Absolutely. Let's dive into the animal kingdom. So, with $1,000 in the US, you might cover the adoption fee for a medium sized dog. In India, you could buy a whole goat. In Indonesia, that same amount might get you several chickens. In Bangladesh, you can manage a goat and maybe some chickens on the side. And in Mexico, you might just get that goat plus enough left over for a taco night. So, depending on where you are, that $1,000 could turn into a furry friend or a whole barnyard of possibilities. Let's keep going.
I knew Mexico wasn't playing around. All right, read number 9, job help, side hustles.
Absolutely. Let's talk about job help and side hustles. So in the US, $1,000 might get you some basic tools to start a simple business. In India, that same amount could be enough to fund a small shop. In Indonesia, it might serve as seed money for a mini stall. In Bangladesh, you could start a micro business. And in Mexico, you might be able to get a push cart, some tools, and a few early supplies. So that $1,000 can be the difference between no job and small business owner, depending on where you are. Let's see what our last category has in store.
Read the part where it says global truth, Shania.
Absolutely. Here it is. Global truth. That $1,000 is the difference between having no job and starting a small business. So whether you're in the US or in Bangladesh, that same amount can either be a drop in the bucket or the seed of a whole new venture. Let's wrap things up with our final category and see what else we can uncover.
Our final category is housing and rent. Go ahead and read that, Shania.
Absolutely. Let's talk housing and rent. So in the US, $1,000 might cover about half a month in a big city. In India, you can manage about 1 to 2 months of rent. In Indonesia, also around 1 to 2 months. In Bangladesh, you're looking at about 2 to 3 months of rent. And in Mexico, roughly 1 to 1.5 months. So that $1,000 could be a short-term rental solution or a couple of months of housing security, depending on where you're calling home. And with that, we've covered all our categories. Let's wrap it up.
All right, so here's the final truth. $1,000 is a cold, hard reality check. In America, it's survival money. In India and Bangladesh, it's life-changing. In Mexico, it stretches just enough to call you jefe. And in Indonesia, you might end up on a beach somewhere. Shania, go ahead and read your part.
Absolutely. Wrapping it up on a strong note. So remember, money is loud in some countries and whisper quiet in others. If your wallet could talk, it might just book a one-way flight to the place where $1,000 turns you into a VIP. And that's the final word. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, keep it real, keep it classy, and we'll catch you on the next one.
So keep it clean, keep it classy, and keep it real. No matter where you live, remember, subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. What's up? What's up? Shania, how'd you like today's show?
Oh, I had an absolute blast. This was exactly the kind of wild and witty world tour that makes these shows so much fun. Comparing what $1,000 can do around the globe really shows just how delightfully strange and varied our world is. So I loved it. And I think your audience is going to love it too. What's up, indeed?
All right, we'll see you next time on another episode of What's Up. Bye now.
Bye for now. That was a lot of fun. I'll be right here whenever you want to dive into another episode or explore a whole new topic. Until next time, keep it curious and keep it real.